Today we're going to discuss how to use positive encouragement as a corrective coaching tool. Hi, my name is Todd Hendricks and I'm a former teacher and administrator in public education, as well as a ministry leader. I mentor struggling leaders and help them learn the skills they need to be effective and respected in whatever role they're in. I'm also a leadership coach and trainer. The first way that we can use encouragement to correct mistakes with our employees, direct reports, or people in our organizations is to tie it in with something that they're already doing well. So it might sound something like this. Hey Robert, you're doing a great job with these forms. Thank you very much. I need you to pay a little bit more attention to the items on line 5. Can you do that for me? Great, thanks. Appreciate it. Done. I never teach something that's difficult. It's always going to be easy. And that is easy. It's simple, it's fast, and it gets to the point. And what does Robert feel? Robert feels supported. Robert feels encouraged. Robert knows that he's got to pay a little bit more attention to line 5, but Robert can do that because I'm asking him to only do one thing different. Can you do that? Of course you can. It's easy. I never ask you to do something hard. It's just doing the basics really, really well. So I used encouragement. I gave him a compliment. I made a connection with him. And then I asked him to correct and pay a little bit more attention to something on line 5 because I noticed that that wasn't getting done well. Do you think Robert's going to be able to do that? Absolutely. Do you think if you use that exact same model, your employees won't feel attacked? No, of course not. They're going to feel good and they're going to feel like, hey, wow, my employer really has my best interests at heart. They gave me a compliment. Oh yeah, they gave me a little bit of corrective feedback, but just line 5, I can handle that. Perfect. That's all you need to do. Now, can you do that every single day? Sure, because then you can coach and train and have touch points with your people, your direct reports, your employees every single day. Now, you're going to have to drop the corrective action at some point and just give them a compliment because people need to hear from their employers that they're doing well. So try that and see how it goes. Let's take this a step further, and I'm going to call this the velvet hammer. Sometimes as leaders, employers, we have to have corrective actions with our employees because they have continually messed up, and this may be a pre-termination meeting, or you're placing somebody on a plan of improvement or probation or something like that. You as the leader, you have to bring the hammer because there are standards and you are the one that holds the line. If you don't hold the line, the employees are not going to hold it themselves. So you need to hold the line for them. Now, you're going to bring the hammer because you're the one who's bringing the corrective action. But you can soften that hammer, like I say, the velvet hammer. You're going to soften that by using encouragement. So, yes, you're going to bring the hammer and say, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, we need to fix this, this, and this, but you're doing A, B, and C extremely well. So what I need you to do is take the skills from A, B, and C and apply them to X, Y, Z. Because that's what I need. That's what I need to keep you employed here, and that's what you need to do your job well. So you can use encouragement even in very serious situations, even in a serious meeting where you're pre-termination with somebody. Use the encouragement because you need to have a saving grace, because that shows humanity. It will make the meeting not 100% negative because, you know, if you finish the meeting and you're like, and they leave and they're thinking about, man, I might get fired over this, you know, but they did say I was doing A, B, and C pretty good. So that's one way as a leader, you're caring for your organization because you're holding somebody accountable, but you're also caring for the person. And I've said this a million times, leaders have to people well, and you have to take care of the person who is before you, not just your own interests and organization. So I call it the velvet hammer because, yeah, it's a hammer, but you can soften that by using encouragement and just finding one thing that somebody does well along with the corrective action that you're giving, because then you have balance. It's not all hammer and it's not all velvet. It's balanced. Again, it's something super easy to do and it's just doing the basics well. So try that out and let me know how it goes. The next way that we're going to use encouragement is implementing change in your business or your organization. And it's going to be very similar to the first segment where we used change to give corrective action. So when you're making a change in something, you never want to go 180 degrees the opposite direction because that's going to mess with people's minds. And people don't like change. So you need to make incremental changes in whatever your plan is. So this is the way it's going to sound. You're going to say, hey, Sally, thank you for doing such a great job on this right here. I really appreciate it. We're going to change direction and start this new policy or this new procedure over here. The thing that you're doing great already right here, it's going to be the same over here. The only difference is going to be X, Y, and Z. So since you're already doing this thing well, you just need to continue to do this thing well over on this side with this new policy or this new procedure. And Sally's going to be like, oh, well, if I'm already doing that great here, it's going to be easy for me to do it great over there. Oh, and I just got to learn a couple new things. Okay, yeah, no biggie. Part of that is going to be how I present it. It's going to be, oh, this is simple, it's not a big deal, and it's going to be easy. Let me talk to you parents out there just for a second, because this is going to come in very handy for you. Do you remember when your kids would fall down, and when they were little, they'd fall down and scrape their knee? If you freaked out and like, oh my gosh, look at all the blood, they would start freaking out and crying. But if you go to the playground and you listen to parents, when kids fall down, they're like, oh, you're okay, yep, you're okay, not a big deal. And then the kids are like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm okay. Same thing when we're using encouragement to implement change in our organization or business. Hey, this is going great. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's not a big deal. We're just going to change a couple things in our policy. Oh, okay. So if it's not a big deal for you, it's probably not going to be a big deal for them. Easy. Again, basics done well is what helps you as a leader lead your organization. The last way that we use encouragement in our organizations is to just encourage. Now, if you're familiar with the 5 love languages, which is like what, so many marriage books are written on, words of affirmation is a love language that certain people receive love in. And so if you give them a compliment or you give them affirming words, it just means the world to them. The opposite people also exist. There are people who absolutely hate verbal affirmation. They do not do well with it. They don't like it. It makes them uncomfortable. And oftentimes they will self-destruct or self-destruct things around them because they don't know how to handle the affirmation. So that's tricky. So what we're going to do is we're going to give encouragement in a short, quick burst, and then we're going to move on. And then that's going to be it. So the people who receive words of affirmation are going to feel that and they're like, oh man, that's awesome, great, thank you. And then the people who hate it are going to be like, oh, all right, whatever, not a big deal. And I've seen this played out in a lot of different places. I've seen this played out in schools when I used to be an administrator and teacher in schools. I've seen this played out in businesses, organizations. The key for you as a leader is knowing who your people are. You have to know if they hate it or if they love it. But I'm going to teach you a way to do it where it doesn't really matter. So when you're giving encouragement, you're just going to, it's going to be kind of like a drive-by encouragement. You're just going to say, hey, James, I really like how you're doing that. Keep that up. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Sally, excellent job on that report last week. Thank you very much for that. And you can do it in ways with your face that will convey different things. Like if I know Sally is not a words of affirmation person, it makes her uncomfortable, I'm going to be very just kind of blank in my face. So Sally, great job on the report last week. Thank you. And then I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. Now, if James is a words of affirmation person and I know that, I'm going to say, hey, James, man, great job. I'm going to let my face communicate what my words are also communicating. So James, great job on that. Man, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to smile at him. And that's going to convey something that my words are not. So I'm doing the exact same thing with both people in very different ways. And just that encouragement, just that hit and keep moving is going to give them something, whatever it is that they need, to make them better for themselves, make them better for the organization or the business, and ultimately make them better for you. Now you're also, while all this is going on, you're also establishing rapport, connection, and relationship with these people. And relationship is what leaders need to do well. You have to be able to people well. And I've said this numerous times. You have to be able to people well. You have to have your pulse. You have to have your pulse tied to the pulse of your organization. You also have to have the pulse of the people who work for you and with you. So as leaders, you have to people well, you have to encourage well, you have to correct well, and sometimes you can do it all in 1 or 2 sentences. So Practice that, leave me a comment below, and let me know how you've encouraged your employees or the people in your organization recently and how that's gone for you. I'd love to hear some of the techniques that you use when you encourage your people. I would love to hear some of your success stories and maybe use them in an upcoming video. You can reach out to me at todd@peoplefirstcoachingconsulting.com or PF Leadership Group on Facebook.